All right, so I got this book, Business Strategy by Brian Tracy, and he goes over pretty much the story of Alexander the Great. Calls him one of the greatest strategists that ever lived. So I'm going to read this story. Sorry. Super good story. I just read it. I loved it, so I want to save it. Here we go. Let me introduce you to the finest strategist that ever lived. In a way, he was a man who started off as a junior manager in a large organization that worked his way up. His name was Alex. Alex's father was the head of the organization and also worked his way up from the ground floor. Alex very much admired his father, learned a lot from him, and studied under him as he was growing up. He had great dreams and aspirations of building a big organization, far bigger than the one his father oversaw. The Alex that I'm referring to is Alexander of Macedonia. He became known as Alexander the Great. He was one of the first and very few men in all of human history to be called the Great, in his lifetime and throughout the rest of history. The unexpected promotion. When Alexander was 20 years old, his father was murdered. Alexander immediately became the king of Macedonia. The Macedonians were a tribe in northern Greece in what is present-day Macedonia. They were a tough, hardy, militaristic race. Under Philip, Alexander's father, he had conquered and ruled all of Greece. Within Alexander's household, within his army and the army of his father, and among the other tribes of Greece, there were an enormous number of enemies, or market competitors. See, this all relates to business strategy, so I've got to keep that in mind here. He goes through it later, but anyways, there were an enormous number of enemies, or market competitors, for Alexander's position. As soon as he became king, Alexander discovered that there were several plots and conspiracies internally being organized to kill him and free the city-states of Greece from Macedonian rule. So leaders take command. Let me just put you down here. My arm's going to get tired. Leaders take command. Alexander immediately took command as a leader does. He first of all put down the disloyal elements in his own army. He then reorganized his army quickly, put his own generals and officers in place, and then marched out and demolished the army sent against him. As a result of these immediate and surprising victories, he became the recognized and accepted master of all Greece. At age 21, this guy. Alexander, like all strategic planners, had a mission. He was quite ambitious. He wanted to bring Greece culture to the entire known world. His long-range strategic plan was to conquer all of these countries and put them under Greek rule. I'll flip the page here. So he wanted to take over the whole known world, right? But that was his goal. Key word, goal. He knew what he wanted. Anyways, merger and acquisition strategy. This is very cool. Alexander was very smart. He did not disrupt the kingdoms that he conquered. He used the first historical version of a merger and acquisition strategy. If they surrendered without fighting, he would leave the rulers in place. All he requested was that they pay a tribute to Greece each year, very much like a corporate income tax, and then they could go on as before. Only now they were under the protection of the Greek Empire and the Macedonians. So he's like, hey, look, don't fight, pay me, a tribute every month or so, and I will offer you protection in the meantime, because, you're paying me. I don't want you to go. You go, the money goes, and I want that money. So, smart guy. Alexander went even further. He would invite the soldiers of the newly conquered kingdoms to join his army and participate in the rewards that came from conquering other lands. Smart. So he would amass this big army, right? He's like, you come with me, get a share in the rewards. Win-win. I mean, I don't kill you, you come along. The guy had it. The guy was smart. It's a good plan. Good strategy. As Alexander moved further southward and through the Middle East, more and more kingdoms and tribes came and joined him. They gave up without a fight and became part of his armies. But there was still one problem. The major competition. Alexander's major competition for world domination, the biggest empire in human history at the time, was led by Darius of Persia. This empire was enormous, covered all of the Middle East, including the Mediterranean, and extended as far as present-day Pakistan and India. When Darius heard that a Greek army under a 22-year-old commander had invaded his empire, he was not pleased. Darius, too, was a smart man. He recognized that Alexander, was the first real threat to his power in his lifetime. He quickly ordered an army of 50,000 to advance against Alexander's 22,000-man army. They were told to go and crush this upstart once and for all. Alexander, anticipating